The question is rank and rent a scalable business model? And I'll tell you this, when I was deciding what to do, back in the day, I was doing sales. I was doing it door to door. It sucked, but I was making great money. And I was like, look, I got to transition out. I know the internet's great. I was looking at different business models. I came across this thing called rank and rent. If you guys don't know what that means, you build tiny websites, you rank them in Google, you rent them out, and you take a check every single month. It's like real estate, but you're doing it online, for those of you that don't know. So I looked at this model, and I had these criteria. I'm like, hey, this business model, whatever I choose, it's gonna have this, it's gotta have this, it's gotta have this, it's gotta have this, okay? And I didn't find anything that fit those criteria except for rank and rent. And one of those criteria was it had to be scalable. I was done with having things where there was a cap. I was done where, hey, as soon as my time runs out, I can't go any further. And I needed something that was scalable. And so I looked at it, I'm like, you know what? This seems like it could scale. I could build the site, I could rank it, I could rent it out, I could have a little bit of maintenance on that client, and I could do it again and again and again, and then I could have someone manage those, and then I could do another one, and it seemed scalable. And the reality is, everyone asks this question, is it scalable? On paper, it looks like it is infinitely scalable. So the question is, if it is, why are there so few people that actually scale it? Why are there so many people that just have one deal here or 0 deals or maybe 2 or 3 deals, but they never really scale? Well, I've got my opinions. I'm sure that you have yours, but I think the number one reason is because people get distracted, okay? Because if you look at this business model, it is scalable, okay? The answer is yes, it is scalable, 1000%. The problem is most people get distracted. And so I will tell you, from 2016 till the end of 2019, I was distracted. I was trying to start a software company, and then I was trying to do this. And then when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go all in. And then I came in, and you know what I did? I started doing SEO, and I started doing swag, and I started doing website builds, and we started doing social media management. And then I had my buddy that had a software, and we started trying to it's like, come on, man. We did all of these things, and that led me to the end of 2019. I'm sitting there, $8,000 to $10,000 a month, which some of you guys are like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. When you have 3 kids, a wife, a house, 2 cars, it ain't a lot of money. And you have $60,000 in debt, and you're paying the interest on that because you failed a previous business. It ain't a lot of money, okay? And I'm sitting there holding the bag thinking, man, I thought this was scalable. What the heck's going on? And honestly, I was at the point where, if you guys have heard this, I was ready to quit. I was ready to stop doing the agency thing. I was gonna just get rid of all my employees, my office, and just go. And I actually called somebody that had a program. I said, look, I know your program's great. I wanna be a sales guy, and just put me on your calendar, put people on my calendar. I'll show up at my office, I'll do sales calls, and I won't have to think about it. And I'm good at sales. And thank goodness what I did one day is I said, well, before I do that, I'm gonna just do the math here. So I took a piece of paper, and at the top I wrote, what do you want, Nick? Like, what do you want? I was so tired of freaking being sick and tired. I wrote, what do you want? And I said, well, your goal has been to get to 100K per month, okay? So I started doing the math. I'm like, okay, if I sell this many deals for this guy, if I sell this many, it's like, the math didn't work. I was never going to get to 100K, no matter what I did. I didn't have enough time with the commission structure, the whole thing. I was never going to get there. And my control, all the control was in his hands. So I called him up and I said, hey, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm out. I have to figure this thing out. I have to figure this agency thing out, because in order for me to get to 100K, I have to own the thing. And this rank and rent thing, it's gotta work. There's gotta be a way. The problem is I didn't have anyone that I knew that had scaled to 100K. Like even the person running the program. In fact, they didn't scale even close to that. I think they tapped out at like 20, 30K. So I'm like, okay, so I gotta figure this out, but it just made sense. So let me tell you really quickly what happened, because in 2019, I'm at that point, but the end of 2020, I'd done 7 figures. And I did a couple of key things that allowed me to scale, and those are the things I wanna share with you. And that's all I did. There's no secret sauce, there's nothing. Let me tell you what they were. Number one is I realized that I needed to pick one deal structure, okay? I didn't want to have pay-per lead deals, commission deals, a little arbitrage deal over here, a little hybrid deal where it's part this, part that. I was like, you know what? I started looking at my clients, and I had all these SEO deals, and I was like, I know that's bad. I know that's bad. And I just started like thumbing through, and I was like, you know what? I have that client paying me like $600 a month. And I almost forgot about it because they were so low maintenance. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. That client is a flat fee deal. Huh, interesting. I wonder if we could replicate that. And I started thinking about it, flat fee would be nice, because in the winter, I wouldn't have to worry about the client canceling because it's on a flat fee, right? and or I wouldn't have to worry about my revenue dipping. So what I did is the following 4 things. I chose one deal structure. That was flat fee. One. Didn't do anything else. I got rid of the SEO, got rid of all of it. One single deal structure. Number 2, we chose one sales process and we developed it. Okay. I said, you know what? All the deals I've done, the ones that are the easiest to close, the ones that are the best, are the ones where I give them results up front. I don't come in with my freaking handout. I don't do this, I don't do that. It's when I give them results in advance and then we get on a Zoom call and we close. That was what we did. And so I spent the entire year refining and just making that process perfect. And that is exactly what I teach. That is my entire program, is that sales process of how to get clients by using results in advance. And so that led to, okay, I don't have enough leads coming in. How do we, get that going, which is the ads piece and the whole thing. So, but we had a one sales process. And the problem is, guys, if you don't have a sales process, you don't have a business. If you don't know where your next client is coming from, you do not have a business. And I was that way. I used to set these goals. I'm going to do 10K. I'm going to do 20K in a month, blah, blah, blah. Cool, Nick. Where are you going to get your clients? Well, I'm going to post on Facebook and I'm going to, go and meet with this guy that has some clients. I'm going to go to BNI and I'm going to do this and I'm going to go do a review website and all these things. And until we got very, very narrow and focused on one sales process, nothing changed. And that's what we did. Is in 2020, we said, that's the only sales process we're going to do. We're going to perfect it. Okay. Third thing that we did is we chose one minimum price. I said, hey, we're not doing anything less than $1,000 a month. Period. Because in order to hit these goals, I got to be at $1,000 a month, and I don't want 400 clients to get there. I want maximum 100 clients. So we said, hey, $1,000 minimum. Okay. Fourth thing that we did is we said, we're going to pick one niche. Yeah, I had other sites I needed to sell. Yeah, I was exploring some other niches, but we had one primary focus niche. That was tree service. Now, at the time of me recording this, I think that ship has sailed. Are there still deals out there? Yes, but I think you could spend your time in other places with other niches that are going to be way more upside. And you're going to have to do way less digging and searching and due diligence to get them. Those, my friends, are the 4 things that I did. That's it. I did those. And then you know what I did? Number 5 is I freaking did it over and over and over and over. And you know what? I had opportunities and I had this site and I was like, I should do this like arbitrage deal and I'll go and, buy the dumpster rentals and run the business. I'm like, nope, stop it, Nick. Stay right here. And then I wanted to go in all these other niches and it was exciting and all this thing. And then I had a guy, I remember this, had this guy, he said, hey, I like you, I can close. He's like, I want to do commission deal. And I said, I'm not doing commission. And I lost the deal, but I stayed very, very, very focused. And I spent the entire year just hitting the sales process and figuring it out and tweaking it and testing it. And I developed scripts and I developed, a setting script and a closing script and this screencast thing. And we tested and we did ads and I spent, right now I'm at $1.2 million in ads spent, but in order to scale and in order to go from 8 to 10K in 1 year to get to 100, in fact, it actually was in July of 2020, we finally hit, it was that fast. Okay. In July of 2020, we hit 100K. And in order to do that, we had to get very, very focused on those 4 things. Okay, so to repeat those very, very simply. Number 1 is they're not going to be in order, but I'm going to give them to you. Okay, number 1 is we had to decide we're going to do one deal structure. That was flat fee. Okay, and I'm telling you guys, anything outside of that, I believe, is a waste of your time. I'll forego the upside of the pay-per-lead to save the time and have the guarantee, okay? Number 2, so we have one deal structure, and then we have one sales process, okay? And that is what I teach. That is what I've been working on for 2.5 years. I've got the scripts, I've got the whole deal, the ad copy, everything, okay? Number 3 is niche, okay? We picked one single niche. We said, hey, we're gonna go into this niche, we're gonna dominate this niche, and that is it. And then number 4, I know these are flipped, but we had one minimum price and we can't do anything below that. And anything below that, we're just not gonna do, period, end of story. I did those 4 things and I went from doing 8 to 10K. At the end of that year, 2020, I looked back, I'd paid off all the debt, I had money in the bank, I'm in this house, and everything changed. Everything changed in 1 year because I was able to scale this business model. The question that I asked at the beginning, is this business model scalable? Hell yes, it's scalable, but you got to do it right.